Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Call. I'm Dennis Green, and if you're watching the video, you can see we're meeting over Zoom today for reasons. But Tim Hankewich joins me from his basement.
From my bunker.
Yes, from his secret bunker in an undisclosed location, where he is preparing for the crown jewel of the 2023-2024 season with Orchestra Iowa and the season ender. Of course, it's Carmina Burana.
Yes, I'm totally excited about this. You know, I've been preparing the choir for this moment since February, and they are about to burst. So we're going to have about over 100 choristers on stage, just belting their lungs out on one of the cool pieces ever written.
And this chorus is, while it's made up of members of all the choral groups that you have performed with the orchestra so many times, this you auditioned specifically for this program.
I did. I auditioned for it, and it's also kind of a project-generated chorus. I mean, the membership changes from project to project, and it's been a huge success. We did that last year with the Verdi Requiem, and it's working beautifully this time with Carmina Burana. So, or as somebody I've often been corrected, some people actually call it Carmina Burana, and I think that's the proper way to do it. But I'm not going to stand in the way of popular culture because everybody calls it Carmina Burana.
Well, we can have a discussion about Appalachian Spring or Appalachian Spring,
Right,
too.
exactly. Yeah, tomato, you know. But having said that, I remember when I was I was maybe just an early teenager and watching HBO when it first came out, and I first heard this on the best man movie ever, Excalibur. And I remember the reception on my television was so snowy, I had to like stand right up to the screen like this to watch the credits because I was thinking, what is this music? I've got to know this music. And after like 7 times watching it, I said, oh, what's this Orff piece, this O Fortuna from Carmina Burana? And yeah, I've been a fan of Helen Mirren ever since.
Well, as someone who, like you, is major exposure to this piece
Right.
is the movie Excalibur. What is its real background?
Its real background, it was written in the 30s, and Karl Orff was sort of a educational guru, and he was finding new ways to teach younger people music. And one was using folk music that they were being brought up with, and others was using simple repetitive rhythms and melodies that could be repeated over and over and over, so like mnemonic devices for memory and the like. And you also have to remember that the most famous composer at the time was Igor Stravinsky, and so he was borrowing the same sort of techniques that Stravinsky was using. And I think Carmina Burana is the piece that Stravinsky wished he could have wrote, because it became so successful for obvious reasons. And also, it's really funny because the text was discovered in a monastery in southern Germany, and it dates all the way back to the Middle Ages, like 1300, 1350 or something like. And what's really great to read this Latin, it tells you that time may pass, but human beings do not change. And a lot of the text is about drinking. It's about spring. I mean, the middle portion, the men's chorus get to drink about, well, basically all the sort of collegiate, shenanigans that everybody gets into when they go to college. And so it has it has a timeless quality to it.
Those good old days, drinking beer in the frat at Heidelberg.
I kid you not, there's a part in the middle section where the men are basically saying, oi, 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 which is essentially chug, 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 chug. I mean, if that's not music, I don't know what else is.
Uh, for most of us, our entire exposure to Carmina Burana is the O Fortuna
Right,
section.
right.
How, which is, I don't know what that's like, maybe 6 or 7 minutes long. There's just a little bit more to the piece.
It bookends the piece, and it's about the interesting. It's about the wheel of time, and it's how things end where they start, and that's because spring is cyclical, life is cyclical. That's basically what the piece is about, and so fittingly, it begins with O Fortuna and ends with the same.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. See, that's why people need to tune into Culture Crawl, because you might actually learn something.
That's right. Not only about Excalibur, but also about the work of Robert Jordan.
That's right. Oh my God, now you're talking my
Yeah.
language. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, who wrote the Wheel of Time? For those who aren't as geeky
Yeah.
as Tim
It's
and
a
I,
not
although
what
there
an
is a series on Amazon Prime.
right. Is it 9 book or 13 book series? I mean, they're tomes. I
Yeah,
read them when they first came out. Anyway, that's a
they're
fun
enormous.
tangent. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've wandered far off into the weeds as we
Yeah.
usually do.
That's
You
usually.
you have another big piece on this program
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Barber First Symphony, written around the same time actually as Carmina Burana. And for those who love or are familiar with Barber's music, it is stunningly gorgeous. I mean, it is tuneful, it's romantic, and it comes from a time where America is just starting to emerge. It's really found its own voice, not just artistically, but politically, militarily. It's found its way in the world, and it has this assured, quiet confidence about it. It really does reflect the time in America as the Second World War was approaching, that America had not only arrived, but it was actually about to really own the 20th century. And you can hear that in this music. It is just so stoic. It's so romantic. It's so lush. It's optimistic. It's also tragic. I am a huge fan of Barber's music. And I also know that orchestra members love Carmina Burana, but they get to play it a lot. They don't get a chance to play this symphony very often. And I have musicians coming out of the woodwork, just like begging to play this program, not just because of Carmina Burana, but because of the Barber First Symphony. And it's the first time I've ever had a chance to conduct it. And I tell you, the more I study it, the more I fall in love with it. And it is to this day my new favorite piece.
It is a big undertaking to close out the season, but
Yep.
you're still performing it in both locations.
Yes, we are.
Even though it's large, you're going to move it from the Paramount to Iowa City.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, our operations manager, Ed Carr, we are beating him like a rented mule. I mean, try and keep track of 80 musicians and 100 and, I don't know, 110, 115 choristers and try and move them. So our first performance is Saturday night at the Paramount at 7:30. And then we reprise the concert in Iowa City at Voxman Auditorium on the university campus. And that'll happen at 2 o'clock. We have a pre-concert discussion at 6:45 on Saturday and 1 o'clock in Voxman Auditorium on Sunday. So we've been talking and planning logistically this particular program for months now, and so it's really been quite the undertaking.
And we didn't mention the soloists. You brought in some pretty high-powered solo talent for this.
Right, you are. There are 3 major roles to be sung in Carmina Burana. The tenor, I think local audiences will know the most, Ben Gully. He married a local gal, Jessica Mallow, who is now the executive director of the Kalamazoo Symphony. But he is back a lot, and he's singing this really funny song from the perspective of a duck that's being roasted on a spit. So I'm sure he'll be singing very high. And of course, the soprano soloist, the role she has to sing, she has to pop off a high D. And for those of you in the music business, lots of sopranos can sing a high C, but not too many can actually sing one step higher. And that really separates the great from the good. And so we have 3 really spectacular soloists coming our way.
Estelle Gomez is the
Yes.
soprano, and Norman Garrett, who has
Yeah.
made multiple appearances with the Cedar Rapids Opera, is your baritone.
Yeah, he
And
was just here earlier in this season, so he's coming back to reprise his appearance. Totally excited to have all of them join us.
yeah, what a great singer! And I have to tell you, when I was interviewing him in studio, I really felt like I was talking like this whenever I would turn the microphone over to him.
Yeah, makes Darth Vader sound like he's going through puberty. Yeah.
Orchestra Iowa, of course, we've been calling this the season ender. It's the season ender for the Masterworks series. You have one more concert coming up, which will be which is the Eagles on the River.
Right.
Which is coming up in a few weeks.
We'll be performing that at the McGrath Auditorium in a couple of weeks. But
this one is for your For your classical music lover, you want to see where the rubber hits the road for orchestra and chorus. This is the one to be at.
This is the one. So we'll see you either Saturday or Sunday here at the Paramount Theater or at Voxman Auditorium at the university.
And tickets at the usual outlet, your box office or your website, which is?
Yes, artsiowa.com or orchestraiowa.org.
Well, good luck in your final prep stages for this. I'm really looking forward to it, Tim. Have fun this weekend.
You and me both. Thanks for having me.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:30 or download the podcast at kcck.org/culture or using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the Facebook or YouTube channels for KCCK. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. I'm Dennis Green. Talk to you later.